Hey guys, welcome to Hypotheticals, a new show that looks at the what ifs and hypothetical situations in gaming, movies, and real life universes for entertainment value. And I wanted to start the show off with the story of Shenmue, and ask the following hypothetical: what if Shenmue told a different story? And what I mean by that is, what if the story wasn't about a boy seeking the revenge on the man who killed his father? There are many ways that this story could have been told, but the creator Yu Suzuki wanted to make a game that explored the theme of death and vengeance in its key element. But I can't help think of the various possible story arcs that could have been created from a change in storytelling. So I'll explore each of these hypothetical stories now. Warning in advance, Shenmue story spoilers ahead, you have been warned. Number 1. What if Ryo's father lived the assault from Landi? So I think that this would have been a shocker to Landi, as it would actually spell his own death. The Hazukis are a family of disciplined martial artists, so not only would Ryo and his father kick Landi's ass in retaliation, but they had a third man, Fukusun, who would most certainly add to the threat with possibly killing Landi in retaliation. To top it off, Landi tried to kill Ryo's father. We know how strongly Ryo feels about his beloved father in the story of Shenmue, and did seek to kill Landi for succeeding in this act. However, Landi did have guards with him, and we don't know much about their martial arts background, just that Ryo's martial arts is enough to beat them down single-handedly. Okay, so with that said, that would mean it is the 3 Hazukis against 1 Landi. And I would say that we remove everyone from this equation except for Landi and Ryo's father, because Ryo wasn't ready to face Landi when he assaulted Ryo in the opening cutscenes. To make matters worse, Fukusun is weaker than Ryo, so really it would just mean that these two would take care of the guards while Ryo's father continues to fight Landi. So, to me, this scenario ends in one of 3 ways. Ryo's father dies, Landi dies, or Landi is defeated and taken to prison. Number 2. What if Landi never existed? I think this entire scenario would either completely change the game or would make it exactly the same. So let's look at how it changes at first. So we have Landi in non-existence, which means Ryo's father, Iwawi, is not in trouble due to killing Suming Zhao, which is Landi's father. The reason for Ryo's father killing Landi's father isn't explained yet from Shenmue 1 and 2. However, we can either assume this leads to Ryo's father being the bad guy and the game changes to become all about breaking Ryo's dad out of jail and beating up police officers, or that Suming Zhao was a bad guy and that Ryo's dad won't deal with any more trouble, which would make the game very boring. It would just be a Japan kid simulator. Going to Japanese school, the occasional first fight, and getting a job at the harbour to pay rent, to live with Hot and Zombie, and probably buy a cat. On the bright side, working at the harbour means more forklift racing. Okay, enough fooling around. I think that regardless of Landi existing or not, Ryo's dad would still die. Look at it this way. There's so much unexplained things. Landi could have had a brother, and his brother could have seeked revenge too. Flashbacks from Xing Hong shows that her brother and herself were orphans because their parents were murdered. People often speculate him to be Landi. If that is Landi, that means Xing Hong's father was Suming Zhao, who was killed by Ryo's father, which means she could have eventually discovered the truth and killed Ryo's father. How badass is that? A female villain. Alternatively, these two ain't related to Suming Zhao, and he had other kids who beat the living tar of Ryo's father. Which to me concludes, regardless of what way you look at this story was always going to be about the debt and vengeance. Number 3. What if Ryo didn't exist? Then Ryo's father dies, Fukusun seeks revenge and dies too. Number 4. What if you played the role as the villain? In this case, you mean playing as Landi? Fuck yeah. Have you seen his badass moves and kick-ass hairstyle? Sign me up. But seriously, it would be a very different game, and in a sense similar to that of Sleeping Dogs, cause it's essentially Asian gang members fighting with evil corrupt power. Which is essentially Landi in a nutshell. However, he is out seeking vengeance on the death of his father, so see how it still remains the same game? That's insane. We can't escape this terrible fate. Help. But it would be cool with such major changes. We would learn the full truth as to the power of the dragon and phoenix mirrors. We would learn the true background of Landi and if he really is evil. See how he deals with his henchmen, what he tells them to do. And I would imagine he has a lot of pent up rage and flashbacks of family members, because you can just tell he is so cold due to his past. I wonder if he saw death firsthand like Ryo did. Number 5. What if Ryo dies and you play the role as Ryo's father, Oya Hazuki? Assuming Ryo's father lives would mean Landi felt that killing Iowai's son was enough vengeance, albeit that wouldn't be the case with Landi. Let's say it was. So now you got a scenario where a man as aged as Aoi has to decide on whether to seek revenge. It's hard to think of a man who would consider revenge with all his experiences in life and life lessons as we seen with Ryo's flashbacks. Remember the carrot scene?
Ryo, while you're still sleeping in bed, farmers are working hard in the fields, carefully picking carrots one by one. So how can you waste them like that?
So this develops two possible story arcs. One, if he decides not to seek revenge, the first half of the game would be very boring, full of depressive flashbacks and crying, and who knows, the man might want to end his life. He just lost his son, goddammit, but not unless, of course, he's forced into this due to the fact Landi wants to rule the world with the mirrors, and so regardless, the story arc doesn't change, because someone got to save the day. So Aoi either mans up and trains to defeat Landi, or trains Fukusun, I don't know. 2. Instant want for revenge and same outcome as all the above, because this would also lead to Aoi appearing as stubborn as his deceased son, and possibly showing similar traits, showing perhaps that genes are passed down to Ryo from him, like father like son, stubbornness and revenge. Number 6. What if the mirrors never existed? So this could possibly be the culprit as to why Ryo's father killed Landi's father, and could be why Landi wants to rule the world. The mirrors seem to lead to great power or just contain it. So I would say that the only way to make this game's story arc change completely is to eliminate the mirrors from the equation. This would lead to the game just being about growing up in Japan and learning valuable life lessons from your father. Because with no mirrors, it likely means that Ryo's father wouldn't have to kill Landi's father. Because let's face it, these guys were obviously fighting over the mirrors. It's so cliche. Anyways, I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you for tuning in to Hypotheticals. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to keep up to date with future videos. And if you guys have any future hypotheticals for me to do, leave suggestions in the comments below. Also feel free to comment how you feel about these situations and how you think in your opinion these would result. But for now, thank you all and catch yous at the next one.
Hi, my name is Mark. I'll tell you about convenience stores. Go shopping with your money earned. I love convenience stores. It's a great place that's always open. And they've got all kinds of things. Batteries, matches, flashlights. They even have food for my little kitty. I'll tell you about part-time jobs. I work at the dock. My job is to operate a forklift. My God, I didn't notice the time. It's time for work on my forklift. I've got to go now. See you later. Bye-bye.